Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Wednesday, and welcome back to Lazy Couch Thoughts. Today, we're going to kind of get into the Julio Jones situation. If you didn't see, once out of Atlanta, and in doing so, in us finding out this information, we're going to talk about what's wrong with the media in general. So let's just jump right in. So I want to say Monday, like kind of brunch-ish hours, Undisputed, Skip and Shannon, for those who may not know. Terrible show. But anyways, they call up Julio, and Shannon Sharp's like, "Hey, Julio, like, you want out of Atlanta? Like, what's going on there? You don't want to be there?" And Julio's, "Yeah, man, like, I'm done there. Like, I really don't want to be there anymore." Kind of gave the spill, like, I just want to be out. Like, I don't want to be there anymore. I've already had the discussion with them. Like, I'm just ready to, move on my career, go somewhere else. So obviously, this blew up like crazy, like all over the place, because one of the biggest stars in football, probably the best wide receiver in football since he's been drafted, besides maybe Antonio Brown in his peak, just said, "Hey, I want to leave the organization that I've been with my whole career." Like, that's huge news. And then you add in the fact, well, Shannon was like, "Well, where do you want to go? You want to go to like Dallas?" And he was like, "No, I'll never go to Dallas. Like, I want to go somewhere and win." And so, like, that's like another wrinkle to this conversation. But before we get into the Julio stuff, what is wrong with sports media? Why would you call an athlete, not tell him that he is live on air with millions of people watching and millions of people streaming, and I don't even know, tens of millions of people will be talking about this on social media, on all platforms. This will be the biggest news on ESPN and Bleacher Report and all these other companies for probably the next week. This is going to be the biggest news in sports, besides whenever LeBron James, falls down and my hand or something like that. Like, those are gonna be the two biggest things in sports for this week. Why would you call that man and not tell him, "Hey, you're live on air. Hey, Julio, it's Shannon. Like, hey, we live right now. We're filming Undisputed. Like, can I get you on air real quick on record, to talk?" And then he could say no and hang up, or he could say, "Yeah, it's cool," and then put me on speaker. That's fine. But dude, that is so dirty. Like, you cannot do that to your friend, because if you have his number like that, if you feel comfortable enough to call him and be like, "Julio, like, what's up, dude? You don't want to be there anymore?" And Julio feels comfortable enough to tell you man to man, like, "Yeah, like, I don't know, I'm ready to move on." That means y'all are friends. Why would you butcher that in order to, do this? Like, that dude never consented to being on the phone, on live TV. And if he didn't do it on TV for us to know. But it literally looked like Shannon was like, "Yo, what up, dude? Like, where you going?" And Julio was probably just finished showering from an early morning workout and was like, "Oh yeah, and he kind of got talked to him man to man. And next thing you know, he's trending on Twitter because the whole nation saw it. I would like to assume he got a call from his agent literally 2 minutes after. And was like, "What did you do?" And you know what? Maybe Julio knew. Maybe all this was planned. If so, on me, right? That's perfectly fine. I don't care. But every single person on social media was like, "What was that? Like, why would they do that?" There's even an agent, I forgot his name, but he said that he had 13 first round. He's a agent. He represents football players. He had 13 clients go in the first round this year in the draft. So obviously this dude's he's legit. He's a big time agent. He's gonna get a lot of clients. And he said that's why I don't let my clients go on these dudes' show. Because they're clowns. They pull stuff like this. They're going to talk about stuff that they don't need to be talking about. They're going to surprise them and put them on the record, without them ever even knowing, ever even acknowledging it. And it's something that they do regularly. Now, I don't know if they actually do that regularly, right? I don't know that, but that's what the claims were. And that's what a lot of the agents and people in the circles were saying. Yeah, it's something that they do. But back to the Julio stuff, man. That's the Undisputed stuff. That's just a joke. All of it's a joke. Going to Julio, apparently they kind of tried to backtrack everything after. It was no. This wasn't some new secret. It's pretty public knowledge. All the people in the inner circles in the NFL, they all knew it already. It's been known without being known in the NFL, pretty much. That's what they've been saying. We never said it to the media, but pretty much every circle in the NFL knew Julio wanted out and that he was going to be granted that wish. Apparently, he was supposed to be potentially traded before the draft. Obviously it didn't happen. So now kind of looking at some potential landing spots. AJ Brown's pushing hard for Julio, saying "Hey, come to Tennessee, bro. Let's do this together. If you want to carry the load, I'll let you be the guy. You can be that dog here. I'll be willing to take a step back for you." And he's saying that also, if you're at the point in your career where you want to take a step back, you don't want to have to carry that load anymore, I'm here. You don't have to carry it alone. You have DeAndre Hopkins, another one of these top, 3 wide receivers in football over the last 5 or 6 years, saying like, yeah, dude, like I'll be willing, like I'll restructure my contract like tomorrow to get you here. Like I will do that for you. And a lot of people are saying like, oh, like X team can't get it, X team can't do it because of the salary cap. To quote Nick Underhill, the salary cap guru for the New Orleans Saints, you can make probably about $50 million free space and salary cap on every single team in football. All it takes is a couple of void years and a couple of contract extensions, and you're set. Look at what the Saints did this year. Going into the season, they're about over $100 million over the salary cap. They lost 2 players. Neither of those players they were planning on bringing back regardless. Like, it's really not that difficult to, reconstruct the salary cap, kind of figure around it and like move around it. Like, it's not that difficult. So any team that wants Julio can get him. If you have about $8 million in salary cap right now, you got more than enough. Like, the Saints, if they wanted to, could get him. And I see a lot of Saints fans arguing about it, saying like, oh, no, like we don't need him. Well, I agree, right? We don't need Julio Jones. But then again, who wouldn't want Julio Jones? Who wouldn't want one of the top receivers in football? Who wouldn't want one of the most athletic players this game has ever seen who's still in his prime? Who wouldn't want that? Imagine an offense with Michael Thomas on one side and Julio Jones on the other side. That's unstoppable. Oh, yeah, and they also have this guy named Alvin Kamara. Yeah. Then you add in the fact that Big Fish, Trotman's coming in. You still have Latavius Murray. You still have Traquan Smith. And Marquez Callaway gets more time to develop. You have Deontay Harris. Like, you have other guys. Like, you have a lot of weapons on offense. And I know what's going to be a lot easier for Jameis. Life's going to be a lot easier for Jameis if you could get Julio Jones in the building, especially with the top-rated offensive line that they have. That team would be disgusting. Now, again, do we need him? No, we can win without him. Like, we have enough talent on the offensive side to be okay. But I don't understand the process of not wanting him, especially if it came at the cost of 1 second-round pick or 2 second-round picks. That's worth it. Now, Atlanta will never in a million years trade him to the Saints. Why would they? That's stupid. Like, the biggest rival, you're not going to get one of the, generational wide receivers. Like, it's just not going to happen, especially in a year where the Saints are, borderline competing. If they get a Julio Jones, they are now pushing for the division, right? Like, they're right up there with the Bucs to push for the division. If they don't get a Julio Jones, it's like, like the Bucs have a step on them. If they get a Julio Jones, it's, hey, we can go win the Super Bowl. If we don't get Julio Jones, it's like, hey, maybe, we can make a run in the playoffs, try and get to like the NFC Championship game, try and make some noise in the playoffs. But like, those are two different things. I think the Saints are going to be fine. I always have to make this about the Saints, but just kind of going back to the Julio Jones stuff, I don't know where he's going to end up. If I had to put money on it, I would say Baltimore. Baltimore really needs to get Lamar a receiver, like bad. Understand they drafted, I think it was Bateman, but yeah, it's Bateman and Hollywood Brown aren't 1 receivers right now. They're not number 1 receivers right now. So if you can go get a Julio Jones and still have J.K. Dobbins in the backfield and still have Gus Edwards in the backfield and then still have Hollywood Brown and Bateman coming in as your, 2 and 3, that's a dangerous squad. And Lamar's going to have weapons. And next thing you know, they're pushing for the AFC with the Bills and the Chiefs. And it's kind of crazy how much more talented top teams in the AFC are, because I don't think there's a single team in the NFC that are even close to those 3 teams. At all. Like, I don't even think the Bucs are even close to those 3 teams. I think the Bucs, if they were in the AFC, they would maybe be the 4th seed this year. And that's not even Bucs slander. I think the same thing about the Packers and the same thing about, insert X, maybe like the 49ers. Like, I could see, maybe not this year because of Trey Lance, but like if they would have made the trade for Aaron Rodgers, like I think they would probably be it. But yeah, like the AFC is stacked this year, and I think the Ravens could really use a receiver like Julio to help ease the load off of Lamar, help ease the load off of Hollywood Brown and the incoming rookie Bateman. But anyways, guys, long video today, a lot of stuff to catch up on. Undisputed, that was dirty. Don't do that. That's really messed up. Julio Jones, feel free to come down to New Orleans. Also, an encouraging stat. Julio Jones has more fumbles against the Saints than touchdowns since 2017. And I'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.